Hi, this is Stuart and welcome to this month's Success video education piece. I hope you're going to enjoy it. I'm excited about it. It could go anywhere. I want to tell you about my dad's famous red lentil curry, well, famous to me. I'm going to give you 5 actionable steps you can take when we finish, and we're going to talk about a few different things in between. All right, let's get started on the weekend. I hope you had a great one. I did. It was raining and pouring, and I get into books when it does that. I was reading on the weekend this great book, Think and Grow Rich. You may have heard of it. And on page 14 of the version I've got, where Napoleon Hill says, "Success comes from those who become success conscious. Failure comes to those who indifferently allow themselves to become failure conscious." The object of this book is to help all who seek it to learn the art of changing their minds from failure consciousness to success consciousness. So we've got failure consciousness, and we've got success consciousness. Now here's the funny thing, they both exist simultaneously at the same time depending on what you're focusing on. You see, in the same family you've got one brother that's successful and one brother that's a failure, one sister that's successful, one sister that's a failure. You've got one person that's successful, one person's a failure in all areas of life, in your school, in your family, in your work, in your business, in your friends. And what's the difference? They're both there at the same simultane. He says this book is designed to take you from failure consciousness to success consciousness, and it can be done. We're going to talk today about 2 other words that seem to be opposites and that are being perpetuated out there, and I'm going to suggest to you one is indifferently allowed if you're not aware of it, and the other one can be developed if you're aware of it. So what are those words? All right, well, let me flick over here. And remind me to get to my dad's red lentil curry. All right, so if you were to read the mainstream media today, everything is about scarcity. You would believe the absolute world is falling apart. It is doom and gloom. Everything is going wrong. And on some level that may be correct. Now before I go any further, I just want to highlight the word scarcity is 2 words. Scare, city. It is the city where all the scared people live. It is designed to keep you in a high state of fear. Why? Because people are easily malleable and controllable when they're in a high state of fear or an emotional state. So they're going to tell you, and I've got some notes here, they're going to tell you that everything is falling apart. Well, economically things are falling apart, and yes, the model we've got probably is shrieking and straining under the strains, and hopefully it will be replaced by something better in the near future. But did you know the current model is based on Malthusian economics? It was a guy called Thomas Robert Malthus who laid out in 1798 in his book, The Essay of the Principle of Population. Now this guy was a political and economic thought proponent and a reverend of all things, and we've adopted his economic models for society. I find that very interesting. And he describes how unchecked population growth is exponential while the growth of the food supply was expected to be arithmetical. Malthus believes that there were 2 types of checks that could reduce the population. It's all about population, returning it to a more sustainable level. Interesting. He believed that there were preventative checks such as moral restraints, abstinence, delayed marriage until finances become balanced, all about money again, and restricting marriage against persons suffering poverty or defects. That's an interesting judgment. Malthus believed in positive checks, which led to, get this, premature death, disease, starvation, war, resulting in what is called Malthusian catastrophe. The catastrophe would return the population to a lower or more sustainable level. And always these theories are result around population. So let's look at these scarcity tactics on all the things you could think of. Well, the first one, let's talk about population. Supposedly we're told the world's population is 7 billion. We're heading for 9 to 10 billion by the year 2050 if current trends hold up. Well, I'm not so sure that's entirely accurate. But even if it was, we're going to put these things in perspective. The first thing is I was reading another great book on the weekend, and it, assuming it was accurate, it said the entire world's population could live in the state of Texas alone in their own independent dwelling and house with some land and having a whole bunch of land left over. So just put that into perspective. Now, admittedly, that book was written in 1997. Population's probably grown a bit since then. So it might take the whole of Texas, or Texas and another half state, who knows. But Texas, whilst it's a big state, is a tiny percentage of the landmass when compared to the entire globe. Wouldn't you agree? So let's just put things in perspective there. Now, in another great book I'm going to talk to you about, and I'm going to give you the corollary of this in a moment. The great book is called, well, it's a good book, and it's called Abundance, and it's by Peter Diamandis and Steve Kotler. And they say the future is better than you think. I recommend you check it out, but I also recommend when you read it with a discerning mind. I need you to think, not just accept the principles that are put in here. But anyway, some great information in it. I want to highlight some things. So let's look at Morocco. Morocco, as an example, is now a young nation. Over half the population is under the age of 25. Having this many kids around is fairly recent historical development, but not for lack of trying. So here we go. In 1971, the child mortality rates were high and average life expectancies were low. Moroccan women had on average 7.8 children. But now making great strides in improving water quality, sanitation and healthcare and women's rights. These days, Morocco's baby boom is winding down. The average number of births per woman is now 2.7. So from almost 8 down to under 3 within a 30-40 year period, while the population rates have dipped below 1.6%. So you see there, we don't have a population problem at all. What we have is a water quality problem, a health problem, a women's rights problem, and a sanitation problem. This can all be easily affected and improved where the will is there. All right, so now we say there's a scarcity of money. There's no scarcity of money. Well, you know, in the States right now under QE3, I think this month they're still printing 65 billion new dollars. Now, admittedly, that's devaluing the rest of the other currency in circulation, and inflation's being hidden or exported right now, but that'll change and rise very, very soon. But there's no scarcity of money. Money is abundant. Why? Because money is an idea. Did you know every time you use your credit card, you created more money? Every time you sign a bank loan, although some claim it's fraudulently done, every time you create a bank loan, they're not giving you money that exists, they're creating it out of thin air. There's no scarcity there in money. It's absolute abundance. What else can we look at? What else do you think is going to be scarce? Well, people say water. Water's scarce. Well, let's go back to this book again. I recommend you check it out. Water's scarce. All right. There's a guy that built a machine finished in 2003. His name's David. I think his name was Dean actually, but they talk about David using to bring down the Goliath. This machine is built, he calls it the slingshot. It's the size of a dorm room refrigerator with a power cord, an intake hose and an outflow hose. According to the inventor, stick the intake hose into anything wet, arsenic-laden water, salt water, the latrine, the holding tanks of a chemical waste treatment plant. Really, anything wet. And the outflow is 100% pure pharmaceutical grade injectable water. Now the current version can purify 1,000 litres of water a day using the same amount of energy it takes to run a hairdryer. The power source is an updated version of a Stirling engine designed to burn almost anything. Over a 6-month field trial in Bangladesh, the engine ran only on cow dung and provided villagers with enough electricity to charge their cell phones and power their lights. The system is designed to work in the remotest villages in the world, and it's also designed to run maintenance-free for at least 5 years. Now, also with water, it needs to be mineralized and appropriately energized. However, there is no shortage of clean, drinkable water on the planet. So what else are you going to tell me? You're going to tell me we're out of food. There's a scarcity of food. Well, did you know the world throws out about 1/3 to 1/2 of all its food every single day? The world grows more than enough food to feed the entire population 2 times over. So we don't have a food problem, we've got a distribution problem. Now, which brings me to my dad's famous red lentil soup. Well, it's actually a recipe I've got that he makes for me. And I went over on the weekend, and why was this one special? This one was special because it had my dad's first homegrown broccoli in it. Now, he grows broccoli in a little garden bed. It's only about 1 foot wide, and it's about 2 or 3 meters long. And he's got strawberries and rocket and potatoes and tomato and broccoli. And let me tell you, it was fantastic. If you get the chance to have some of my dad's red lentil curry or soup, absolutely recommend you take it up. Now, here's the funny thing. While he's doing that, He's also telling me about, he just saw a TV show, The Press Club in Canberra. They had Dick Smith in, and he was wailing and going off about Australia's population. It's exploding, we're taking in too many people, and the infrastructure can't hold it, and has someone else back him up. Yes, if you agree with old thinking, that could be true. But what we need is new thinking, new ideas. We don't need to come from scarcity. We need to go to an absolutely new mindset, and that is abundance. See, my friends, the truth is there is only abundance. Now, for those that want to argue, there's only two scarcities on the planet. One is time, and the second one is attention. They're the only scarcities on the planet. So look at my dad, he's planted his broccoli. Now here's the funny thing, while he's standing there, he's standing on a bit of lawn. This lawn is, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 meters long by 2 or 3 meters wide. And we say that there's not an abundance, there's a scarcity of food. Well, how is it? He's standing on a lawn. What does this lawn do? It's a complete waste of space. It chews up water, it takes petrol to mow, he's got physical problems with his back, and it hurts him to mow the damn thing. What do I recommend he does? Rip it up. The whole thing should be productive and planting food. In the 1940s in the United States, over 40 million homes were growing their own food. I don't have statistics for Australia, but the percentage would have been extremely high. Look at it these days, 60, 70 years later, we don't do it. We buy it in supermarkets, and look what they're doing to the food. Look what's in it. Look how it's grown. Look at the GM coming in, all this sort of stuff. You've got to be crazy. Dig up your lawn and start growing your own food. There is no scarcity. There is only abundance. And we just need the will to act on it. Is there anything else there that's scarce that you think we need to worry about? I just got a list here. Oil, they say oil's running out. Well, wasn't that 30, 40 years ago? They said the world was going to run out of oil in 5 years. Hey, it never happened. What happened? We invented the carburetor, some other technologies, and it stretches a lot further than it ever did. And if it goes, so what? We'll find or create something else. The technology's already there. There's more energy from the sun hitting this earth every single day to power the planet for a whole year. We just need to find a way to convert it. Have we found it? Yeah, I suspect we have, and maybe it's just not getting out there right now. So can we just agree that wherever you see the word scarcity, it is a manufactured concept like failure consciousness. There is only success consciousness, because even if you're a failure, you are a success at failing, if that makes sense. And one can be transmuted quite easily into the other. Scarcity can be transmuted into abundance. Now you're saying, Stuart, what has this got to do with property? Well, nothing. And everything. Well, the point is you get what you focus on, what you're conditioned to believe. There is an abundance of renovation properties. There is an abundance of development sites. There is an abundance of distressed property out there. You will get what you focus on. You may even create what you focus on. So focus on abundance, quit focusing on scarcity. All right. So as I said, only two scarcities on the planet, time and attention. Everything else is abundant. You know, we might want to start asking some serious questions. What happened to 400 of Tesla's 600 patents, many of them related to free energy devices, that disappeared upon his death? What happened to the abundance of natural health cures that have eliminated every disease known to man instantly, automatically and cheaply? And many of them are around right now. You might want to Google this and check this out. What about all the other free energy devices that have been invented? Don't believe me? Jump on YouTube, Google it, free energy devices, go see what you find. What happened to the invention of the American inventor that invented a spark plug that runs a normal engine off salt water? Where is this technology going? What is going on? You may want to go and check this out. So there's an abundance everywhere. In my events, I often and have frequently done an exercise where I get participants to look around the room. I get them to look around the room because I'm going to ask them some questions. I want you to look around the room and see everything that is red. So they look around and they see everything. There's a red tablecloth or a red colour in the carpet or a red jumper the ladies wear. And then I go, all right, everyone close your eyes. And then with their eyes closed, I say, I'm going to ask you to recall everything you can recall now. They think I'm going to say red. And here's where I change it up. I say, I want you to recall everything you saw in the room that was the colour blue. And of course, not many people can remember everything. And they go, oh, damn it, they're fighting me. You didn't tell me to do that, blah, blah, blah. And I say, okay, open your eyes and look around and see everything that is now blue. And guess what happens? When they look around, there is 10 times more things blue than they could remember or recall. Now here's the thing, why? Because we only see what we're looking for. And here's the trick. We need to quit focusing on scarcity and start focusing on abundance. So now I want to bring you to 5 actionable things that you can do. Number 1, you need to cultivate an abundance mindset. How are you going to do that? You need to start reading good books. You need to start hanging around abundant thinkers, people that are thinking of solutions and ways and productivity and all that sort of stuff. And you will start to see it everywhere. I've mentioned 3 great books in this video alone that you should read. Well, actually there was 2. The third one was The Book of Stuff. You might want to read that. She says where the world's resources, we're using them up, the first world is using them up at the rate of if we have 3 planets. Now clearly that is unsustainable. We need to change our ways. Quit buying crap. Quit being a consumer. Buy fewer things of better quality. I haven't got it on me, I've got an iPhone. The iPhone doesn't ring anymore. It's got what's called planned obsolescence. All our technology is designed to break in a short period of time. So you will do what? Well, I'm refusing to play. Mine doesn't ring anymore. It still works, and it's actually a blessing because I'm not annoyed by the phone anymore. But here's the thing, I won't be replacing it. And very shortly, if not immediately, I'm getting rid of it. I'm going to go back to a life without a mobile phone. What, you think I'm crazy? Well, maybe, but I think life will be much more peaceful and for me, much more effective. I'll be more attentive when I'm with people and all that sort of stuff. You make the choices you need to make. So we want to cultivate an abundance mindset. Second thing is I want you to tune off and turn out of mainstream media, TV, radio and newspapers. You think I'm crazy? Hey, I haven't read a paper for years. I don't watch TV. I have one. It's only for study purposes. Now, on occasion, I watch a couple of things. On occasion, I read the papers when I'm traveling and flying around the country. Absolutely. But you need to understand the time you save. I've read stats that show the average Australian is watching 5, 6, 7 hours of TV a day. Holy smokes, people. That time would set you free if put into appropriate measures. That time would save the planet if you believe it needs saving. There is a reason it's called TV programming. They are programming you the way they want you to think and the way they want you to behave. You need to unplug from that. You need to turn it off, go outside and let nature be your teacher and meet your neighbours while you're at it. Number 3, I want you to live from the inside out. Quit letting external circumstances control the way you think and the way you behave and act. I was with my lawyer recently, said, Stuart, but there's too many people on the planet where we can't grow enough food. I'm like, yeah, if you keep watching mainstream media, that's what you'll believe. Hey, we are growing 10 grains of crop to feed 1 grain unit of animal food to chop up and feed to humans. Now, if you don't know, the consumption of animal protein has been linked to the cause of disease and cancer. Get the book, The China Study. There you go. You're up to 4 books already. You should read this stuff. If we just cut out that step and started feeding people fruits, grains and nuts and legumes, you would expand the food supply 10 times straight away. Not only that, you'd save the Amazon and all the forests they're chopping down to grow animals. So again, change your habits. You'll be far healthier for it. But here's the thing, quit letting external circumstances control your world. See, most people are living from the outside in. What I want you to do is to live from the inside out. See, this is the great deception. What you don't understand, this creates this. It's not the other way around, although many people are living their life letting the cart lead the horse. No, the horsepower is up here. Let it create your life. So start living from the inside out. That is, get clear on what you want to see in your life. Focus on it and go and produce it. Number 4, I want you to go out and build community. I want you to go out and get involved with your neighbours, meet them, share information. You see, all this information is in the population. People know stuff. People know what's going on right now. And there is an abundance of information out there. Your neighbour knows stuff you don't know. You see, if we continue, I don't know about you, but it's becoming clearer and clearer to more people that our current governments and our corporations are not working for the people. They are definitely putting profit before people. You need to protect your water supply and make sure it's clean. You need to check the skies and the air is clean. If you see planes leaving trails across the sky, you need to start talking to your neighbours about this, start rattling your local MPs and whatever and see what is going on. And You know, with all this information that's been out there, that's been hidden or repressed, if governments and corporations continue to repress this information, I believe they will go the way of the dinosaur, and they will go very quickly. The information is out there. You need this information for yourself, your family, and your community. So form community, start connecting with people. And just remember, we the people outnumber them over 1 million to 1. And it's time that we started to flex our muscles. And number 5, I recommend you start planting food everywhere. If you've got children, what greater thing could you give them to get their hands in the soil and start planting it? As I said, my dad's got a 1 foot by 3 metre space where he's growing some veggies, but he's standing on maybe 10, 20, 30 square metres of grass. That could produce all the food he ever needs. Look into hydroponics and aquaponics. A 3 square metre table of hydroponics and aquaponics can completely grow all the food a family of 4 needs. All of their food needs. That's astronomical. Just think about that. It can be done undercover. It can be protected. All sorts of things going on. There's countries all through South America now. They're planting out all the median strips and all the council land, which is incidentally the people's land. There should be fruit trees everywhere. In Australia, you can go driving north of Brisbane, and there's food growing all on the trees. There's towns where there's mango trees everywhere for free. There's pineapple trees everywhere. You drive down to Cooma in New South Wales, there's apple trees lining the roads. All this food is free and clear, growing beautifully. You may want to start growing all your own food. So consider that. What land do you have in your house that you live? Turn it all productive. You'll teach your kids something. You'll have far better quality food than you could ever imagine, which will raise your energy levels, which will raise your consciousness levels, and things will start to change. So grow everything you can. Grow an abundance of it. One of my crew members said, Stuart, why don't we, everyone in our street should just grow one thing. We should all grow apples or tomatoes or something. And he said, everyone in the next street should grow something else. And we should just swap it with them. Absolutely, there should be an abundance for everyone to take. What a great idea. Why don't you start it? Start growing an abundance of food. Grow everything you need for yourself. Everything you have excess, give it to your neighbours. Take it round, say g'day. All right, so I've given you enough ideas here. Hopefully there's 5 actionable ones. There's 3 or 4 great books I recommend you should get into. And until next month, to your abundance, this is Stuart.